Hello everybody, Mr. Galvan here, and we're going to talk a little bit about accessing your Google applications and utilizing them to create Google Forms. Now, Google Forms, fantastic content possibilities you can make here. Um, you can make all kinds of quizzes, assignments, tests. Really, anytime you need to assign something to students, you can utilize Google Forms to make it. It's really cool, and it can be a very useful tool too, like I said, with surveys to collect information as well. It just kind of depends on how you want to utilize it. Now, I'm starting here from my Google Drive. It's just really the easiest place from which we can make content. A couple of things I want to point out here on the Google Drive. I'm not going to go into detail on Google Drive. That can be for another video, but we have these little dots here. This allows us to jump into many of our other Google applications. If I scroll through, I'll see forms here. I could click here to start a new form. Additionally, I have this new button here. I could click on it. We can upload files to Google Drive too. And Google is an excellent way to store your content. But we can also, from here, create a doc, sheet, slides. We click on more, hover over it, and we can create a form here. Notice that it says here we can make the form blank one or a template. I'm going to click on blank form. That way we can get started from scratch, as they say. So we have our untitled form here, right? So if I click here, this right here is going to be the file name and the, I guess the title, if you will, of your form. If I click on it, I can rename it. Let's call it, I don't know, History Test U.S. Presidents. Okay. Maybe History Test 1, like it's our first history test with the kids. It saves, and we get this little message. All changes saved in Drive. And I want to get my little mouse clicker here. All changes saved in Drive. Okay. Notice that when we change the file name here, the title of the form changes here. This is what the kids will see at the top. We'll click on form description. This is just your basic instructions. Please answer the questions. I'll just make it more basic or more complex if you want to. It just depends on what you want to do with it. We have our first question here. It already populates it with the first question. If we want to add additional questions, we just click on the plus sign and more questions will be added. Every time we click on the plus sign, it adds another question, and so on and so forth. You click inside, just where it says question, you can type your content. Who was the first president of the USA, United States of America? We click on option 1. This is where we start populating answer choices. Notice that it's set to multiple choice. If I click here, we can change the type of answer choices or responses that the students can put in here. Even a file upload, like if you want them to record a video where they prepare a speech or something, and they use maybe, I don't know, Movie Maker or something, you can upload it here. You can use grids, you can use scales, you can even use dates and times. It just really, sky's the limit, okay? Most people usually stick to the short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, or checkboxes. I'll talk about checkboxes a little bit later when we go. All right, so let's populate it with some answers. George Washington, obviously. John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Notice that these little icons appear to the right of both the questions and the responses. This allows us to go in and insert an image. Now, if you have an image in your computer, you can browse for it. If you want to dress up like George Washington, you can use your webcam to put something in. You have a website that you want to go to, you can go here. You got something saved in your Google Drive, you can go there. Or if you want to go into Google Image Search, this is probably the easiest thing to do. I'm going to type in George Washington. Press enter. And here we've got Google George. We click, we insert, and notice we have this that appears. Okay? Now this is basically going to be, I probably shouldn't have used this here. This is going to be the image for the whole question. If you want to click on it and get rid of it, you can. You just, well, you don't really click on it to get rid of it. Click somewhere else, hover over it. You see these little dots that appear? Click on the dots, and you can click remove. I'm going to remove it. I probably shouldn't have added that. What I'm going to do instead, I want an image that will cover the whole question, something that kind of encompasses the question as a whole. So let's think about, I don't know, U.S. presidents. So what could be a good image for? Like we have groups of presidents here. Oh, you know what? An image that could be nice would be something like founding fathers. Oh, look at that. Boom. Okay, don't need that right now. Inserts. Founding fathers. I love it, right? Okay, click. You can resize the image, because obviously this is a bit too big. And we have our image that covers our questions. You click here. We want to add images for each of questions. So I'm going to click here and images for each of the answers. I'm sorry. I just put George Washington. That was silly of me. George Washington. Notice that before it came out really big, when I clicked that image, for the answers, they're actually going to be kind of small. I love the way Google just kind of ensures that the images for each answer are a decent size, so it doesn't throw off the, I guess, the spacing between the responses. Let's see, what was our second one? It was John Adams. Okay, we're gonna search for John Adams. Okay, click inserts. Okay, next we have Thomas Jefferson. Sorry, this is taking a bit, but there is a point to it. Thomas Jefferson. Click inserts. And James Madison. Click inserts. Okay, so we have our first question. Pretty basic, pretty standard. Who was the first president of the USA? We have our image that kind of covers all of the founding fathers. We have our images for each question. Now, you don't have to add images for your questions. I mean, you really don't. It just depends on what you want to give the students in terms of scaffolding, in terms of visual cues. Really just depends on how you want to do it. I did it just because I thought, it could be something that could be potentially helpful for you. Additionally, if you want to add a quick little video, you can. You click on add video here. You can look on YouTube. Founding Fathers. Okay. We scroll through. Ooh, this is neat. Secrets of the Founding Fathers. Select. And I think it was, yeah, here it is. Added on the bottom. You can, the beauty of this is all of these things actually, is that you can move them around. You guys see these little dots here? You can move everything everywhere. It just depends on the order that you want. I'm going to click on the dots and drag. I'm going to drag this to the top. Oh, it didn't let me go all the way. Let me do it again. Click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. Oh, that's interesting. For some reason, I'm not able to bring it all the way to the top. Well, no matter. We can always move things around later. So let's title the video. Founding Fathers video. View the video for the next question. Or something. It just depends on how you want to do it. Now, if I hover over this, now we've added questions. You can actually import questions. You can get questions from another form that you previously made. I previously made another form about US presidents. I'm going to click on this, sample form A. I'm going to select it. Now, before we jump into it, it allows us to choose which questions I actually want to bring over. Now, I already did the first president of the USA. I'm going to click on these other ones that I made from that form. It's kind of nice because it shows us what the questions were. I click imports, and here we go. Which of these presidents served as George Washington's vice presidents? View the following video to answer the next question. And then this is the question. Why did George Washington only serve 2 terms? Now, notice also that things kind of changed a little bit when I imported them. On this question, it's not asking me for an answer key. This question, curiously, is. Why? Well, in order to make the quiz work, or in order to make this form work as a quiz, we have to change up some of the settings. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start playing with the settings to make sure we get this as a quiz that we can use later. So go up here. We see the little cog. We click on it. We go to quizzes. And you have this little icon here, this little, I guess, I don't know what you'd call it. It's kind of like a lever or a shifty button. But you can make this a quiz, and you can ensure that all of the questions are assigned a particular points value. So I go here. I'm on this question. We make this a required question. The kids have to answer it before they finish the form. We hover over and we click on answer key, and we designate an answer for this question. So who was the first president? Obviously, George Washington. We assign a point value. So if I have this question here and this question, let's see. Oh, okay. So I have this question here. I have essentially 2 questions plus an extra credit question. The videos don't have questions attached to them, but the videos, as we've mentioned, we can tell the kid, okay, watch the video, then answer the questions, right? So I already have 1 question, so I have a total of 2 questions. I'm going to assign them 50 points each time. So it's a 2-question quiz plus 1 question for extra credit. Oh, it already did it for us. That's pretty convenient. Okay, so total points, 110. Why do we have 110? Because this one, we said that it was going to be worth extra credit, 10 points. And it's not required. So the kids can finish the test and not answer this one because it's extra credit. It's like an addition. Now, the thing about the checkboxes, I want to go back before we go and play with the settings a little more. We said that we can use a drop down, use multiple choice, short answer, whatever we want. I chose checkboxes here. The reason is that I like the ability to have the kids check off a couple of possible responses. So in this case, there's 2 answers. Notice the check marks here for our answer key. We indicated that we want both of these to be the correct answer. If they don't get one, then they get no points. All right. We go up to the top. The puzzle icon is for add-ons. I'm not going to cover add-ons in this video, but you can add on useful extensions to your Google form. This is kind of like the painter's paint thingy. Well, anyway, you click on it, you can change your themes. So if I want to put an image in the background, let's say I have one that I want to upload from my computer. I can browse files. If I click here on themes, I can click, I don't know, this one looks kind of neat. I'm going to click on that and insert it. And boom, this is at the top. Notice that the color palette changes. We can change the color palette however we want to, though. It provides these suggestions. You click on the plus, and you can pretty much put whatever color scheme you want. Background color as well. You can change the fonts. This is fancy, so that feels like it would fit with the US President's theme. The eyeball. This is to preview it. This is what your kids are going to see when they're taking this quiz. We have our first question. We have our little video. This, I think it was an extra question that we had created. We need to go back and delete it. So this is useful. It's kind of like a print preview. You know, you can see, oh, you know what? I need to get rid of this. Oh, I need to get rid of that. And we can go through it. So we move down here. We have our other video. Oh, and we have another question. So we need to get rid of 2 questions. We need to fix this. Now notice that it opened up a new tab. You just close the tab. Okay, you go back to the quiz. So I want to go ahead and get rid of this. This is a question that we're not going to use. We're getting rid of it. We go down to the bottom. This is another question we're not going to use. We get rid of it. Trash can. And that's it. We go back to the preview. And notice that they are gone. And that's it. That is it. The kids will literally see just what you're seeing now. Now, let's go back into the settings. I want to go into the wheel. General. Now, if you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can collect email addresses. This may not be necessary if you're working with Google Classroom, because the kids are going to be completing these quizzes through your Google Classroom. But you can. I mean, it doesn't hurt. Really, it's just to kind of help us when we're getting responses, which I'm going to discuss in just a bit. We want to limit it to one response. That way they're not doing it multiple times. Now this one, we're restricting users to BISD. I mean, yeah, the kids definitely need to be logging into their Google accounts using their BISD credentials. Make sure that you click these though. Edit after, or you don't click these, I'm sorry. Edit after submit and see summary charts and text responses. We don't want the respondents to see anything for obvious reasons. Go back to the cog. Presentation. If you want, you can show a progress bar at the bottom. That usually works a little bit better if you're working with a longer quiz that has multiple sections. You can have a confirmation message. Your response has been recorded. Or you can tailor it to whatever you want. Thank you for completing this quiz. Good luck. Whatever. Quizzes. We can go down here, release grade immediately after each submission. We're going to put later after manual review. It's kind of better that way, I think, just so that they don't get their grade immediately. Or I mean, you can. It really just depends on your preference. What I do want to point out to you is that you do want to check on these. We don't want them to see the correct answers or the missed questions. You can let them see the point values if you want to. It really just depends on you. But we don't want them to see after the quiz is over what they got wrong, what they got right, etc. Okay? Make sure you save anytime you change the settings, and we go there. Now, before I go in and send it, or at least show you what the send involves, I want to go into responses. We click on responses. We see that there's this little green icon. What you can do is, and this works especially well for surveys, is that you can click here and it can create a brand new spreadsheet that is linked with this form, meaning that every time somebody makes a response, we get the information here with a timestamp and the email address that they logged in. We get their score and we get the answers to the questions. So let's play with it. I'm gonna go into the preview again. You see now this message appeared. I have to use my email to be in here, which is good. So who was the first president? Let's say George Washington. The second one, you know what? I'm going to mark this on purpose. Which of these presidents was George Washington's vice president? I'm going to incorrectly say Thomas Jefferson. I'm going to get the extra credit, and we're going to submit. Notice the response after we finish. Thank you for completing the quiz. All right. Let's go into the Excel sheet. Did it populate that quickly? The answer is yes. It shows my response. It shows my score. These are the responses that I made to the questions. Very useful. Again, like I said, though, more so for surveys. Now, how do we make this work with Google Classroom? That is another thing entirely. For this one, we're going to go to the little dots back in Drive. Well, I guess you can, well, no, I guess not. Yeah, let's go to the Drive, click on the dots, go into Classroom. Now, my Google Classroom setup is I have my classes, right? I've got a bunch of classes here. I set up a pretend class called History 101. We're going to go into it. We're going to go into classwork. We're going to create. Now notice that there's assignment and quiz assignment. They're more or less the same thing. Quiz assignment is just conveniently set up so that you can make quizzes, and the form is already set up for the quizzes. You don't have to use that one. I'm just going to use regular assignment. Notice we have the add button here and the create button here. If I click create, you can create a form. We already have a form, so I'm going to click on add. I'm going to go from the Google Drive. Notice we have recent, my history test 1, add, and there it is. History test 1. Complete the test. Okay. We have our point value. This is the point value that we had from the thing. I'm going to leave it at 100. Remember, the extra 10 points were just extra on top. Due date, let's assign a due date of April 3rd for Friday, right? Okay. Topic, and you can make a topic. U.S. presidents. For rubric, this is usually if your assignment is a little more specialized, it's not. This is being graded through your Google Forms site. If you have another assignment that you're making and it's a little bit more creative, maybe it's a project or maybe you're making them do a video and they have to upload a video, you can create and set up a rubric if you want to. But it just kind of depends on how you do it. It's really sky's the limit on the way that you set up your rubric. I'm just going to discard this because I don't want a rubric. Originality reports, we don't need this because they're not writing an essay. They're just taking a quiz, and we click assign. And that's it. Okay, so we have successfully used a Google form, created a quiz, and uploaded the quiz to our Google Classroom. Okay, and the quiz has been sent to our students. One more thing before I go. Very key thing. Send. Okay, now send, it really just depends on how you want this being sent out. Where is this supposed to go? Okay, do you want to email it to the kids directly? I would say not. Use Google Classroom. Do you want to use the link that anybody has the link they can work on it? Yeah, I mean, you can. It's fine. Again, Google Classroom is just easier. The embed is very cool because, and I'm going to talk more about this whenever I make a survey video, but you can actually embed a Google form directly into a website that they can actually see and interact with. Very neat feature, but we're not going to discuss that right now. I'm going to go down to collaborators, add collaborators. Now, what is that all about? Okay, this is where it gets really cool. I don't know what that's all about. That's weird. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so Jay Galvan, that's me, right? I'm the one that created this. I'm the owner of this form, right? I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Hide that. If I want to add collaborators, all I have to do, it's very simple. I can just, well, it's not here. Oh, okay. Let me go into another section. This is odd. Oh, here we go. Okay. Not sure why that was like that before. Okay, so you can invite people to actually go in and, oh, you know what? I need to save the changes. That's why. Okay. You can actually, oh, okay, because it was through my Google Classroom. That's why I shared it there. Okay, never mind. I can actually type in a name, Sean Smith. And if the person is there, we can actually put in their email address and invite them to collaborate with our form. Now, we can have them edit or just have them view. It really just depends. Okay, I'm going to put my friend Armando Sanchez. Armando, if you're watching this, shout out. I can click here, have him edit if he wants to. But let's just say, nah, I can send it to him, but I'm not going to right now. It really just depends on what kind of permissions you want to give to people to work with your form. Let's say you have a group of colleagues. You have 3 teachers in your grade level or your department that you really trust and you really want them to help you put together the best quiz possible. You invite them here, and they could all log into their Google and simultaneously be editing the form with you while you go. It's really, really neat. So I'm going to click done. I really kind of wish I hadn't gotten rid of it. I realize now that that other person was my Google Classroom class, so I may have to fix the setting on that later. No big deal though. We're done though. This is it. You have your form. Your form is ready. You have your Excel sheet responses. This is what it looks like when you finished it. And this is your form, your quiz assigned to your class, my History 101. So that's it. I hope you guys learned a little bit of something on how to work with your Google Forms, how to make quizzes, and hopefully this video will be helpful to you. All right, until next time.